Hey, for the first time in school history, we were able to accomplish something that's never been done before. My watch is ringing. We were able to reach the Elite Eight, and our players really sacrificed and dedicated themselves, and they did what a lot of teams are challenged to do. And that is put all your individual goals aside and make the team's goals your goals. And I think what Sam Wardenberg and Cam McGusty did coming back for their sixth year was a major decision a year ago. And that was the start of this great season. And then adding Charlie Moore and Jordan Miller, two players who just were fantastic from start to finish. And then the last piece of the puzzle is when Isaiah Wong turned down the NBA draft to come back for his third season. So I'm extremely pleased that our starting five was able to pool their talents together and make us the kind of team that we became. And then our bench just kept plugging in the holes that we had, whether it was Bensley Joseph subbing in at the point for Charlie on so many critical situations where Charlie was either in foul trouble or needed a rest. Bensley would go in there and do a fantastic job. And then Wooga Poplar continued to improve throughout the season. And Anthony Walker became our one and only front court sub, which, as anybody knows, when you're really 6'7", you're not really a five-man, yet he would go in there for Sam Wardenberg and do a great job. And then our scout team was amazing all year long. Game preparation is hugely important, and those guys helped us prepare about as good as we possibly could. So all in all, being able to finish fourth in the regular season was an accomplishment. Getting to the semifinals, earning a double bye and getting to the semifinals in the ACC tournament was terrific. But we played our best basketball in March. We played our best basketball during the NCAA tournament, knocking off teams that were seeded higher than us and ranked higher than us all season long. And one of my pet peeves throughout the season was I thought the ACC was very much underrated, under the radar of a lot of the experts. And I was very, very happy to see us have three of the Elite Eight, two in the Final Four, one in the national championship game. So I think our guys deserve a lot of credit. They did a tremendous job. We had tremendous support from our student body, from our pep band, from the cheerleaders, from Category 5, our spirit group on campus, and from the community of Coral Gables in Miami, following us in the NCAA tournament and really, really captured the excitement of Miami basketball. And now we're trying to put the foundation together for another terrific team next season.
I'll go into questions for Coach L.
Coach, you got Harlan Beckley back from Spain for the first time yesterday in the practice facility. What do you imagine that his role is going to be upcoming next season?
You know, it was his first day back from after a year and a half off. He's got a lot of work to do to get himself back in physically good shape and then start competing with the other guys. It's way too early to determine what his role might be.
Coach, when you lose to the team that wins it all, how do you interpret that you crossed paths with that team when you did?
We've done it a couple of times now, you know. We lost to Villanova the year they won it. We lost to Carolina the year that they won it, not in the NCAA tournament, but during the season. We actually beat Duke, who won the national championship in 2015. But honestly, what it said to me on that Sunday when we lost to Kansas, had we played a better second half, we would have been in the Final Four and would have had a chance to win the national championship. We were not that far from it. You know, I say this all the time, and I think it's, you know, something that's very simple. When you're in the NCAA tournament, you're going to play someone who's very good, and to win the game, you have to be very good. You have to play very well. We played very well against Southern Cal, against Auburn, against Iowa State, and for a half against Kansas. Just didn't play a great second half. And so had we played a much better second half, I think the result could have easily been different. But playing against the eventual national champion, our guys will be able to look back on that and say to themselves, man, if we had just played a little bit better, maybe we would have been national champs.
And speaking of,
Go ahead, Ruthie, you got a second
Yeah, sorry.
follow-up.
Is there a science to playing your best basketball in March? How do you replicate that
Well,
year after year?
the very first thing, believe it or not, is your health. You've got to have a healthy squad. One of the things that happened this year, and I give a lot of credit to Sam Johnson, our trainer, and Phil Baer, our strength and conditioning coach, they kept our guys on the court throughout the season. We didn't have the injuries. The previous year, we had so many injuries, we were never as strong as we could have been. You know, just think about Sam Wardenberg, never played a moment the previous season. How good would he have been with those guys? And Chris Likes getting injured in game 2 and never playing again. If you're healthy, you give yourself a chance. If you're not healthy, you don't. And you'll see it in the NCAA tournament. You'll see it in the NBA playoffs. You'll see when teams get a key player hurt, they get eliminated. Right? So I think that's the first thing. You have to be healthy. And one of the things about playing your best in March is having your players prepared for that sprint. It's no longer a marathon. You know, the marathon is the grind, the constant travel, and missing classes, of, you know, being beat up and sore. In the NCAA tournament, you really have to be at your best physically, mentally, emotionally, and your players really have to understand that. I've said all along that you want to be relaxed. You want to smile a lot and stay loose. And I think that's a key to being successful in the tournament.
has Isaiah Wong told you whether he plans to come back next year or not?
You know, Isaiah Wong is just the ultimate worker. He's in the gym every day, and whether it's in our practice facility or some open gym someplace, he loves to play basketball. Right now, we've given him the space to try to pursue his dream of being an NBA player. And he's going to do that as long as he chooses to. And then he and his mom will decide with their advisors as to what the next step is in his journey. Whether it's to come back and play another year at Miami, or to put his name into the draft and pursue his dream of being an NBA player. But that's going to be up to he and his mom.
Coach, can you talk about the young backcourt of Bentley Joseph and Wooga Poplar, and what are some of your expectations for them heading into the future?
Well, the first thing is we'd like to recruit a veteran player who can help those guys, because I think they both made strides this year. They both are great kids. Bensley has some great leadership qualities. He's very vocal. He's very verbal. He's articulate. He's friendly. He smiles a lot. He's a terrific defender and rebounder for a point guard. Offensively, there are parts of his game that he's going to need to pay special attention to. Three-point shooting, one-on-one moves, fast break layups, different parts of his skill development that I'm sure he's going to work on, and my coach is going to work with him. Wooga has a lot of physical talent, and it's going to be a lot of hard work, a lot of hours that he's going to need to put in to be able to utilize his natural physical abilities. Some of it'll be mental, and some of it'll be physical. He needs to work on his ability to just score the ball like he did in high school.
And then with Ja'Kai Robinson and how he progressed throughout.
Yeah, Ja'Kai actually had a great year. He redshirted. He spent all his time working on his game. I think he's going to help us a lot.
Dan Radakovich took over, the middle of the season. How much were you able to kind of talk with him, sit down with him, and discuss your vision for the program, his vision for the program, and kind of talk about that? And is that going to be something that you do more in the offseason?
I think Dan Radakovich's experience. What was it? Okay, thanks. I think Dan Radakovich's experience of not only being an athletic director, but being an athletic director in the ACC, at Georgia Tech, at Clemson, provides us the kind of leadership and experience this athletic department needs to take steps forward, to go in the right direction, to add to our facilities, to add to our brand. And we're already doing that in many regards. And I think Dan has a very clear vision of the direction he wants to go in. And, my staff and I are going to provide him the support he needs and anything we can do to help make that vision a reality.
And, you worked with Chris Caputo for a long time, obviously departing the staff. But what's it like to, see him now get an opportunity as a head coach?
Well, it was only 20 years. I would have preferred it to be another 10. He's fantastic. He's a great person. He's an extremely gifted networker. He was able to build friendships and bridges here at Miami like no one else could ever do. And that's a tribute to him and his personality. He's going to do the same thing at George Washington University. He's going to do a great job there. And we're going to miss him. He has some very big shoes to fill. And my staff and I are spending a good bit of time trying to figure that out, because there's really nobody else out there that's like him. I know that's kind of strange to say, but he has some unique skills. One of the things about Chris is he has a world of knowledge about a lot of different subjects, much more worldly than me, like the business world. He knows a lot about the business world. Politics. He knows a lot about politics. He probably should be a politician. I think he'd be a great leader in our society. He has a great deal of knowledge about NBA basketball, about college basketball, about high school basketball, about AAU basketball. He listens to podcasts and reads. He's an insatiable reader. So his wealth of knowledge about so many different things made him such a valuable contributor to my program, both at George Mason and at Miami for the last 20 years. And so he leaves big shoes to fill, and we're going to try to find someone who can do that.
Got time for one or two more for Coach L.
I have to ask you, what went into the decision of going to the Heat game the day after you guys got back? Spo couldn't believe you were there. He's like, isn't this guy sick of basketball yet?
I met Eric Spoelstra at a University of Florida clinic in my first year here. And there was no question in my mind, the guy was a fantastic coach, a great human being, a great leader. And I could really see he and Pat Riley building championship teams at the Miami Heat organization. And so I started going to the Heat games back then. Ron Rothstein, who was the assistant coach back then, was a friend of mine for the last 40 years. He invited me to games. I got to know Pat Riley. He invited me to games. Eric Spoelstra got to be very close with Chris Caputo. We did some staff meetings where we X and O'd together. I started watching their offense and defense more closely. And he's had a tremendous and a very positive influence on our Miami program. When we got back from the Elite Eight, and I had been following the Heat's season, and I knew they were in first place, but it was now in the balance, I asked my wife, I said, look, are you up for another basketball game? Let's go cheer the Heat on. And so we went to the game just, to show our support like they had been showing their support. In fact, Eric Spoelstra was quoted several times during our run. So, we like to feel that they helped us, and we want to try to help them. So they finished in first place, so I guess it worked. And now they go into the playoffs, and we'll be following very closely and cheering for them.
You going to any playoff games?
I'm going to go to some playoff games.
Can you talk a little bit more about Category 5 and just the overall support you have for Miami students?
It's very interesting. When we first got here, there were three things that I was told. Number one, you'll never beat Carolina or Duke. Number two, you'll never win an ACC regular season or tournament championship. And number three, you'll never build a fan base. You'll never have the student support or the fan support of the community. And for those of you who don't know, we were sold out for 3 straight seasons just prior to COVID. And we were expecting to really keep that run going. COVID hit, and then everything changed. And now we're starting to get the feeling that we can get that back going again. And having the students behind us, having Category 5 behind us before the season ever started, we did an event for them where they met the players and we shared some pizza and what have you. And from that moment on, my staff and I felt like, well, we've got the students behind us, now we got to keep that going. So the students did a great job of supporting us. And I was very, very happy to see that our pep band was there in full force throughout the year. So, and then they traveled with us, not only the band, but the cheerleaders traveled with us to the NCAA tournament, and that was great. The University of Miami is a great academic institution. It's a great brand, and we need it out there, and we need our community behind us, the administration behind us, faculty, staff, student body, everybody. Coral Gables community, the Miami community. And by the end of the year, we had that. We want to keep that going.